Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Calderone, and welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner here at UAlbany. And joining us now is the head coach of the UAlbany baseball team, John Mueller. How's it going, John?
Going well. How are you?
Good. I was going to say, probably going really well. You know, that first weekend against South Carolina, SEC Power, there were some positive things there, but ended up losing all three games, but bounced back in a big way this past weekend against North Carolina A&T. You win the series, winning 2 out of 3 games. Obviously, have to be very happy with that bounce-back performance.
Well, the last time we went to North Carolina a few years ago, actually about 8 years ago, thought we played well and we came out of there with 1 win and 1 one-run loss and a pretty big defeat. So really happy for the guys to get in the win column the first game, convincing victory. Second game was a little bit slow starting for us, and obviously bouncing back Sunday, we let the guys know, let's treat this like a conference weekend and go win the series. So I was really happy for the guys and their performance this weekend.
Sure. Let's look at some of the parts in each individual game, and you mentioned it. You know, you win the opener. That first day was a doubleheader, so you win game 1. You win that. You scored 14 runs, and in that series against South Carolina, not to bring it back up, but you know, just 10 hits total in that series. He had 14 hits in game 1 of that doubleheader against North Carolina A&T.
Yeah, we faced some pitching that first weekend that was pretty competitive, and I thought once the pitching slowed down a little bit, got more to our liking, we'd have an opportunity to take advantage of some of those things. And guys got in some hitting counts. We drew some walks. We had some really quality at bats, and their number 1 guy was out of the game early. You know, it was a guy who had gone 7 innings a week before against Navy, so that was an accomplishment. And got into the pen a little bit early. And anytime you get into somebody's bullpen early in the series, it really taxes the rest of those guys and their staff. And you know that the next day that going to be difficult for those guys to bounce back.
Sure. You know, his first outing, Stephen Wood, in that series against South Carolina, it got roughed up a little bit, but boy, bounced back really nicely against North Carolina A&T in that first series. Looking at the numbers here, 5 innings, 3 earned, 10 strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, it's about one thing. It's about command. You know, it's about pace. It's about being able to recognize how to attack different guys. And, you know, I think that he was much sharper. He had a crisp breaking ball, and you know, he didn't have to rely on his fastball. Only this weekend he was able to bring out all 4 pitches, and he really had good command from the 3rd inning on. He really looked sharp, and you know, the velocity's always been there. So really happy for the step he made this weekend, and we're looking forward to him making the next natural steps as he goes forward and getting deep into games.
Sure. So Stephen Woods gets the win there. The second game of the doubleheader, take a little bit of a step back. You lose 13-4, so we can, you know, skip over that and get right to the series finale. You guys, the bats get going again. You score 9 runs. You win 9-2. And talk about pitching. We know that Stephen Woods is going to be your ace, but Ryan Steiner was phenomenal for you guys. 5 innings, 2 runs, 5 Ks.
Yeah, Ryan is, you know, he missed all of last year, so each start to him is it's a building block. In week 1 against South Carolina, I thought his command was okay, but his stuff was good. This week, his stuff was better, and his command was better. So, you know, he threw a number of pitches this week. So we're going to make sure he, you know, we kind of bring him back down maybe this weekend. Same with Woody. We're going to try to keep those guys at a reasonable pitch count, and hope for those other guys failing. Joe Romero's going to get the ball on Sunday. He's a guy he's gotten off to a slow start, but his numbers are a little deceiving. I feel like they are, but he's another guy a power arm that we want to get out there and stretch him out a little bit. So, you know, those 4 guys will go this weekend.
And we talked about the bats just a few minutes ago. Matt Hinchy, he's off to a nice little start. You know, in that series finale, 2 for 5, had 3 RBI. He's up to 8 runs batted in right now, and he's one of the guys that really exploded at the plate this weekend. You know, we talked about, you know, before we taped this, you know, we talked about Connors and all those guys. How happy were you with the way your guys hit this week? Averaged 9 runs a game in that series against North Carolina A&T.
Very happy. You know, it's a team offensive approach, and some of the things that we've tried to preach all fall in the weight room, in our pre-conference season, and even into today is starting to take form. You know, guys are driving the ball. Last year we had 6 home runs all year. We have 4 right now. I think we have 12 or 13 doubles. And good hitting teams hit doubles. Power hitters have a lot of doubles if you see that trend. And happy to see that. We have some young guys that have played, you know, have started to take that approach. We have some guys that have swung. Pat LaGravin, he's hit the ball hard all year, and I think he has 2 hits. Matt Hinchy's taken advantage of some good situations, you know, the money situations, guy in third, less than 2 outs. Evan Harasta hasn't quite gotten there yet, but he's close. Yeah. Connor Powers has gotten off to a good start, and Kyle Sachs has been the Phil McConkey. That's what I call him. He's the guy that, if we were in an airplane, he'd be the first guy to jump out without a parachute and land on his feet. So he's been tremendous defensively out in the outfield. Will Miller's been good out there, and we still have a lot of guys. Eric Muller's a guy we want to get in there and get him some reps, and Matt Codaspodi and Evan have done a real nice job handling the staff so far. So it's been a real good team approach so far.
Yeah, and so now you've wrapped up 2 series on the road. You're back on the road again this upcoming weekend, but it's a nice trip. It's not a 10, 11, 12-hour bus trip. About 2.5, 3 hours south. You got NYIT this weekend coming up. 4-game series. What do you know about this team, and what do you got to do to get a series win?
Well, I think that the big thing is the one thing we haven't talked about yet that's been a real staple to so far in 6 games has been our defense. We've made 3 errors all year. We set a goal this past weekend to make 3 or less errors, and I think we made 2 or 1 or 2. So we've really done a nice job. Donati at short and Pat LaGraveny's at third, and Carson Canada's been a real diamond this year defensively. I told him just go out and play D and scrap together some at-bats at the bottom of the lineup, and he's done just that. So we talked about that effective communication. That's been big. But, I think that the overall stance with these guys from a defensive standpoint, making 100% of the average plays, and the pitchers have really, they've started to turn the tide on the walks and the hit batters versus strikeouts. So, and then offensively, it'll take care of itself. The things we're talking about will take shape. Will Miller's, he'll start getting on base a little bit more, and there'll be weekends where he'll have to carry us a little bit. And those other guys have been solid. We have enough lefties in the lineup and enough lefties on the bench to attack some guys, some righties with sinks. So really excited about that. And going into this weekend, we want to do the same thing. We want Woody to get us off to a good start. We want Marcus Failing to have a bounce back start. And on Sunday, we'll go with Ryan Steiner and Joe Romero, and got the rest of those guys coming out of the pen and just continuing to establish some kind of role for each guy and where do they stand, and getting them out there as much as we can before Hartford in a couple weeks away. It's coming quick.
He's the head coach of the UAlbany baseball team, John Mueller. John, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
And as always, don't forget, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and tell your friends about UAlbanysports.com. I'm Joe Calderone, and that's going to do it for this edition of Coach's Corner. We'll see you next time.